12.
I got that.
Nope. Roy, what'd you get?
Is it 1?
It's 1. How'd you get 1? How did you get 1, Roy? Walk me through it. Okay, let's talk about this. So, how many exponents do we have? Just 1, right? It's this -1. Do you agree? Now, the -1 is, what's the base that's the exponent for? -6. It's the entire thing that's inside parentheses, okay? So if we want to move something to the denominator, because it's a negative exponent, we have to move that whole thing, okay? So this -6 is going to stay, but we move this whole -6 to the -1 to the denominator. So it becomes -6 over -6 to the first power, the +1 power, okay? Because remember, whenever you move something from the numerator to the denominator or vice versa, your exponent goes from negative to positive. Do we all see that? Did I lose anyone in this step? Be honest. Raise your hand. Not yet? Okay. Now, what is -6 to the first power? Carlos? -6. So this denominator becomes -6 over -6. Just 1. Do we see it now? What is that? Multiplying powers with the same base, lesson 7.2. So I want you to copy down this portion only. Okay, so we've got 6 to the third times 6 to the second. What is 6 to the third power, not as a number, but as an expanded form? Giancarlo? 6 to the third is just 6 times 6 times 6. What about 6 squared? 6 times 6. How many 6s do we have? 5. So this is simplified as 6 to the 5th. Okay? What did we do with our exponents, Giancarlo? You add them together. The 3 and the 5 just get added together. This is all we're doing in lesson 7.2, is just recognizing when you can add exponents together, and it's when their bases are the same, okay? When those 6s, since both of the 6s are our base, we can add the exponents together, okay? All right, guys, go ahead and turn in these notes. We've got about 1 minute until the bell rings. To me.
1800.
Absolutely. How'd you get that?
I just simply add 9 and 3.
Very good. Simply add 9. Where'd you get the 9 from? You added 9 and 3?
No, I'm at 6.
6 and 3. Very good. What about 0.5 to the negative third times 0.5 to the negative 8? What'd you get, Anderson?
0.5 to negative 11.
Excellent. 0.5 to the negative 11. Now, some of you would have left it like this and gotten it wrong on a test. Why is this wrong? Why is this not simplified? Anderson?
You have to put it under 1.
Very good. You cannot leave 0.5 to the negative 11. Negative exponents are considered not simplified. So we have to flip this and write it as 1 over 0.5 to the 11th. If you don't have parentheses and you wrote it like this, both of these answers are acceptable. Both of these answers are acceptable. But the one that isn't acceptable is the one that says 0.5 to the negative 11. Alan, what's up? Yeah. All right, Victoria, you're up. What'd you get for C?
I got not negative 9 to the fifth.
How'd you get that?
-3 plus 2 plus 6.
Very, very good. Okay. All right. Awesome. Guys, the second part of 7.2, okay? This is where we continue. Is all about when you have more than one variable, okay? So I need you guys only to copy down these 4 lines on your page, okay? And then we're going to talk about them. The 4 lines that I underlined, they need to be on your page. So in these types of problems, for example, we have 4z to the 5th times 9z to the -12, and then we're simplifying it, okay? What you need to do is you need to group things. We group the numbers together so that 4 and the 9 get grouped together, and all of the z terms get grouped together, okay? All numbers come first, and then we go with the variables, so the z's come afterwards. Now, all we do is we multiply them together. So we do 4 times 9, which will give us 36. And then after that, we have z to the 5th times z to the -12. We already know what to do there. Oh my gosh. I am so angry. Let's take a look at another problem. 2a times 9b to the 4th times 3a squared. Now, I told you guys before, when we have these types of problems, what we want to do is group them accordingly, okay? Your first group will always be the numbers. So, in this case, I see a 2, a 9, and a 3. So we're going to multiply all 3 of those together. So that's our first group, is the 2, the 9, and the 3. Okay, after we group those 3 numbers together, we're going to go in alphabetical order of our variables. So, we're going to group all of the a's together. How many a's are there in this problem?
2.
There's 2. There's an a and an a squared. So we're going to put a times a squared as our second group. And what's the only thing we haven't accounted for? B to the 4th. So that's going to be our last group. And once we group everything, it's so easy, guys. Once we group everything, it's so easy. Who's good with their times tables? What's 2 times 9 times 3? What'd you get, Anderson? Or Ashton? 54. Very good. What do we get when we multiply a and a squared? What? Nope.
A squared.
Giancarlo? A to the 3rd. Because isn't there an invisible 1 up here?
What?
There's an exponent of 1 for every variable or number, okay? And then b to the 4th just stays b to the 4th, okay? You don't have to copy down those 2, but I do want you to write it like this. So you just have to copy down this last line. 54 a cubed b to the 4th. Ashton, what's up?
Then if it was negative, you would have to write 1 over that?
Correct. But it depends which exponent was negative, right? So let's say Ashton asked a good question. Let's say one of those, you don't have to write this down. Let's say one of those was negative. 54a to the -3, b to the 4th. How would we write this in simplified form? Anderson, give it to me. 54b to the 4th over a cubed. Excellent, okay? You just move that negative exponent to the other side of the fraction, and you make it positive. Let's do it. What is the simplified form of each expression? Let's start with a. 5x to the 4th times x to the 9th times 3x. What's our first group? Ashton. The 5 times the 3. And what's our second group? Jason.
I couldn't.
What's our second group, Jason?
X9.
X to the 9th is in there. What else?
I don't know.
Juan, can you help him out?
X to the 4th.
Mm-hmm. What else, Madison? Or 1.
And what about the X next to the 3?
Very good. We got to account for all of the X's. Is there anything left that we haven't grouped? No. Okay. We grouped everything. What's 5 times 3 going to become? Carlos.
5 times 3 is going to become 15.
Good. So this is just 15. What's x to the 9th times x to the 4th times x going to be, Roy?
X to the 14.
Very good. How did you get that?
Because 9 plus 4 is 13 plus the x.
Very good. That x has a 1, guys. That x has a 1. If you want to write that in there, do it, okay? Because people forget. They sleep on the 1. Don't be those people that sleep on the 1, okay? Always account for your 1s. This is our answer in its most simplified form. We Gucci? Moving on. -4c cubed times 7d squared times 2c to the -2. Tessa, what do I do? -4. Did we miss anything?
Yes.
What did we miss?
The 7.
The 7. Remember, you got to account for all of the numbers. So we got to erase this parenthesis and add in the times 7. Okay, be careful here. What do I group next? Roy?
C to the 3rd and C to the -2.
Good. C to the 3rd times C to the -2nd power. Why does C come before D?
Because it's
Alphabetical order.
Alphabetical order, okay? What's my last group, Giancarlo? It's not D2. No, it's not called, it is D and a 2, but we don't call it D2. Good. D to the 2nd power or D squared, okay? What's going on? Stop it. D squared. All right, who wants to write this in its most simplest form? Nicole, give it your best shot.
-56C with 1 exponent,
Okay,
and then D to the 2nd power.
good. Excellent. Did we get the same thing?
No.
Ashton, what'd you get?
I'm gonna CB squared 62 or 56. I wrote it wrong?
Mm-hmm. So it's just a negative number. There's no negative exponent for those numbers. Do you see that? If the negative was up here, Ashton, then we would have to move the 56 to the denominator, okay? But when there's no negative in the exponent, we just leave it. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. Those of you that write the 1, it's a good practice, but on multiple choice questions, you're never going to see that 1. It's just going to be written as -56 CD squared, okay? CD squared. You're not going to see that 1. It's okay if you write it on your paper, but when you come to a multiple choice test and you see it, you're going to be like, ooh, I don't know if that's my answer because I have a 1 and they don't, okay? Just remember they're the same thing. All right, last one. C. Angelina, what do I do?
You do, you add 2 plus -2, right?
Not yet. Remember, we want to group first. Roni, what's our first group?
Just, no, J to the second power.
Before we deal with J, what do we group first?
K.
Nope. Janessa?
The
12
numbers.
by itself.
12 by itself. That's the only number that we have, okay? We have to group it by itself. And then what comes next? Rioni?
K.
Actually, not K. I just had to spell the alphabet out in my mind. Carlos, what comes next?
J.
Yes, but what? Just J?
J squared
Uh-huh.
multiplied by J.
Good. J squared multiplied by J. And then lastly, what do we group, Rioni?
Okay.
The K to the negative second power. All right. Angelina, P. Draw 4 blanks, and we're gonna put multiplication signs between each of them. We're gonna fill in each of those blanks with the same number, and whatever we multiply together by itself 4 times should equal 81. Do I have any guesses as to what number belongs in those blanks? Nicole? 3. Let's try it out. 3, 3, 3, and 3. But did you raise your hand, Rioni? You don't get the credit. So let's take 3, because Nicole was that smart to come up with 3 on her own. Very nice. So we're going to try 3. We get 3 times 3, which is 9 times 9. What's 9 times 9? 81. That checks out. So this answer is just 3. 81 to the 1/4 equals 3. Now some of you might be like, isn't that like the square root? It's very close to the square root. This would be considered the 4th root, okay? The 4th root. So 1/5 would be the 5th root. 1/6 would be the 6th root. So on and so forth. We are going to see radical exponents. Okay, let's check it out. 16 to the 1/4.
I have no paper.
Turn the page. Oh, can you borrow another piece of paper? Roni, where's your notebook? Here you go, Roni. I have paper for you.
Fail.
What do you guys think? What times itself 4 times is going to give us 16? Here you go, Brandon. Tessa, what do you think? 2. Excellent. Okay. So this is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 equals 16. So 16 to the 1/4 equals 2. What number times itself 4 times equals 16? It's 2. Check it out. B. 27 to the 1/3. 27 to the 1/3. What do you think, Ashton? 3. Let's check it out. 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. Multiply that by 3. And we get 27. So 27 to the 1/3 is 3. $64 to the 1/2. 64 to the 1/2. What do you think, Janessa? Excellent. 8. How'd you get that? Good. 8 times 8 is 64. So 64 to the 1/2 is 8. You good, Giancarlo? I don't know, you keep looking back here and you look so sad.
I am.
Why? We all have days like that, Giancarlo. Mine was yesterday. I was sad yesterday.
Why?
No, we lost.
You guys are cheating and everything.
Yeah, it was a good game. All right, people. Last bit of notes. Thank God is right, Rioni. Okay. 64 to the 3/2. I need you guys to copy down these 3 lines. Now, sometimes it's not going to be so simple. It's not going to be like 64 to the 1/2, 8 to the 1/3, it's going to be 3 over 2, 4 over 3, 3 over 4. It's not going to be like a really simple fraction all the time in the exponent, okay? But what we can do is we can break up that fraction into different pieces, okay? To make it simpler. So for example, 64 to the 3 halves is the same as 64 to the 1 half times 64 to the 1 half times 64 to the 1 half. Because when we multiply all three of those together, our base is still 64, right? So we can just add the exponents. When you add 1 half, a half, and a half, do you get 3 halves? Yup. Now, it's a little hard to see, but when we do more examples, it'll make more sense. And we already calculated 64 to the 1 half, which Janessa said was 8. So it's just 8 times 8 times 8, which is 112.
I don't like the gold, please.
Go where?
No, the gold.
The goal?
Yes.
What does that mean? 3 examples, and we're done, peeps. We're done after these 3. 25 to the 3 halves, okay? We're going to break this one up just like we did the last one, okay? So we're going to write this. It's 3 over 2, so we should have 3 terms. 25 to the 1 half times 25 to the 1 half times 25 to the 1 half. Now, who's really good with these exponents and knows what 25 to the 1 half is? What do you think, Rioni?
5.
Very good. It's 5. So it's 5 times 5 times 5. And I need someone else who's good with multiplication. What's 5 times 5 times 5? Roy? 125. Okay? Now, a little trick, guys. You notice how there was a 3 in the numerator of that exponent? That means that we're going to have 3 parts to multiply by each other, okay? So, in B, 27 to the 2/3. How many parts are we going to multiply by each other? 2. So it's going to be 27 to the 1/3 times 27 to the 1/3. Now, 27 to the 1/3 asks, what times itself 3 times will give us 27? I think we already did this one, right? What is it? Trace. And what's 3 times 3? Nueve.
What is everyone getting that I don't?
What?
What is the goal here?
The goal?
Yes,
We're dealing with radical exponents.
that's awfully vague. For our goal.
You know, no, I'll show you guys tomorrow. I have a surprise for you guys tomorrow. Yes. It's a good surprise. Like, it's math involved, but you don't have to take notes or anything.
So donuts?
We're not.
Not donuts.
So I won't need to touch any kind of pencil, apple, or...
Not, okay, you guys are taking what I'm saying and you're like going 100 miles an hour. No, we're not playing a game kit. You guys are so ungrateful. Okay, 16 to the 3/4. How many parts am I gonna have? 3. So this is gonna be 16 to the what? 1/4 times 16 to the times
I'll never understand.
16 to the 1/4. Okay, we need 3 parts. What is 16 to the 1/4? Anderson? Dos. What's 2 times 2 times 2? Giancarlo? 8. Ocho. You're so lost?
Yeah.
How? What happened?
Thank you. someone who understands me.
If it's 1 over 4, shouldn't there be 4 over 16?
But look, there was a 3. There's only going to be 3 parts.
He's just breaking it down. So
What's 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4? 3/4.
Practice one before.
Okay, go ahead and turn in your notes. Guys, you're going to submit these to the same area as yesterday. So 7.2 notes, you're going to submit on top of the old ones from yesterday. What's that? How did I get the 2? What times itself 4 times is 16? 2. Okay? So whenever you're looking at this,
Circle, please.
what times itself 4 times will give you 16? What's wrong, Rioni? You were on another level today.